Tommy is here as a co-host with me, representing them. Definitely in the nest there is the at Energy with a spelled with an I and not a Y at the end. Definitely give them some love. But let's first have this conversation. Tommy, basically what we're going to do here is that I'm going to give you 90 seconds to pitch what it is, and then from there, I will ask you some questions. The speakers will ask you some questions, and you'll get to explain to the whole audience of 2,600 people what your project is, and so we can all learn more about it. So, Tommy, 90 seconds. You're on the clock. Go ahead.
Well, what's up, guys? Yeah, just listening to the convo. First of all, I'll say, SEC and enforcement agencies don't really have capacity to help, and or not much, maybe like 5% out of 100. This is what we've been dealing with for years. As you guys are saying, crime is just getting worse, and that's the one part of the cycle I'm not looking forward to, what that looks like. The long and short of it is, I built a blockchain that has enforcement capability on the blockchain. And I did it. It was not something that I initially set out to do. It's something that I believe is the biggest unsolved problem in the space. And I'm actually shocked that I'm the only founder in the space who's done it. You got all these billion-dollar blockchains and no one else. There's decentralized gov in terms of allocating funds, right? That's kind of taken off. But we're the only ones that I know of that have decentralized gov in terms of asset protection and asset recovery. And this is what the future of crypto looks like. In my opinion, I've been in crypto for since 2013, and I think the future of crypto is, cryptocurrencies kind of functioning as their own governing blockchains and taking care of their users. But again, none of these billion-dollar blockchains have done it. We're kind of an underdog, but I'm proud of what we've done. We've pretty much wiped out theft on our blockchain 3 years with no theft, contract hacks, anything like that. And I think in 10, 20 years, a lot of other blockchains are going to follow our footsteps or create something that emulates us, but we're the pioneers of it. That's the long and short of it.
I love it. I love it. And also in the
Do you?
Twitter, in the Twitter, I see that it says, the safest blockchain in the world, Ethereum-based L1 featuring defense in depth and on-chain law enforcement protecting you from hacks, scams, and theft. Can you elaborate on the on-chain law enforcement and like how that is enforced?
Yeah. So when you want to get into decentralized gov for protecting people's assets, you have to, have an investigative process. Just like you guys know, there are so many scams in crypto. Most people reporting crimes are actually criminals themselves. So they're trying to abuse the system or take advantage of it or pretend that they had something stolen. So we've been doing this for some years. So we have a whole process that we go through of determining, if there's actually a crime that occurs or not, including getting logs from people's computers. And if they want to get the asset recovery, this is the process that they go through. But then result of it is, after scammers realize they can't get away with it, they stop messing with our blockchain. It's kind of like if you have a security sign in front of your house, you're far less likely to get broken into than someone who doesn't. And that's because criminals just want to get away with, somewhere they can get away with it. And we've really hindered their ability to do that. And so as a result, we don't have I don't really see criminals come around. Sometimes they come around and try, and then they find out they can't get away with it, and then they go pick on another blockchain. You're always going to have. I just want to say, you're always going to have blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I'm very grateful for them. I was an ICO investor in Ethereum back in 2014. I'm grateful for these foundations that are set, but and they're always going to be there. So if you want a non-governed blockchain, you got it. But the future is, in my opinion, going to be governed, where you can bring your mom, you can bring your sister, whoever it is, your friend, and not worry about them being scammed 5 seconds later. And just, for me, as I felt the pain of the people, this is the biggest unsolved pain point. And again, it's something I'm not looking forward to seeing how many scams.
Them or is it just me? Tommy, you cut out a little bit there. Go ahead.
Oh, you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Testing. All right, cool. Yeah, just like you guys were saying, the scammers, hackers, they really come out when the bull market's on. So it's something we have to be alert of. Um, as we're going into this next cycle, that there's a lot of predators out there, and we have to be the change, you guys. Until the end game of crypto, in my opinion, is competition for ethical money. I'm going to repeat that; it's important. Competition for ethical money, and part of ethical money is taking care of your users, taking care of your citizens, and this is the direction I want to see the crypto space go in. I want to see more projects, more blockchains moving in that direction. But that's what we're doing.
I mean, for sure, man. And this is definitely, a very honorable way to approach this. I mean, I can't tell you like how bad it turns my stomach when I hear the story. Like, my friend told a friend about an NFT, and 3 days later, and this kid spent a bunch of money on NFT, and then it gets drained, and like how much that hurts to like they want to blame it on the person that told them. Like this is kind of like the kind of brings a lot of the toxicity in crypto out, and a lot of people have been burned, and it's no good to deal with that. So Tommy, do want to open it up to the speakers to ask you questions as well, but I really want to give you a chance to flex here. So what like milestones has Energy achieved in terms of user protection, and how do those milestones compare to other like major blockchains in the space?
Well, just as I was saying, 3 years with no theft. Back in the day when I was talking about this, I ran into people saying things like, first of all, they didn't even think it was possible. I got that, and some people probably still think that, which is funny because it's not that complicated, right? We have decentralized gov to vote for how to allocate assets. You could take a system very similar to that, which is what we have, and apply it to freezing a bad actor. Like it's a. I want to be clear. There's no. I don't have a master key to the system. It's just like a DAO voting. It requires network participation to freeze an address. You could do that with a 10% quorum, just like a quorum done with votes on allocating funds. And then you can also do a vote to drain those assets and return them back to the victim. So that's kind of what it looks like. We've actually gone pretty far in the security realm. Like that's just one of the levels. We have alerts. Like if you guys get text message alerts ever, like from your bank, did you spend $5,000 on airline tickets? That happened to me. And you get an alert about that. You let the bank know that's not the case, and then you get the money back. And it's the same thing with blockchain. That's how it should be. You should get an alert if your funds move. We have that with our alert system. We send you an email anytime your funds move, so you know. And then hey, if that's not you, you can go report it, and yeah, then we can get the community in action, freeze that address, and stop those funds from being stolen. I want to just add here because I know it's a common thought that people have. So sometimes people are like, okay, so it's not decentralized. This is a really important thing that ties to education in the space is the meaning of decentralization. Decentralization means a network that can't be taken down. It doesn't mean not having a DAO. So you have some blockchains today that have, 5 validators. Those networks are not decentralized because there's only 5 validators. We have 500, so we have, and they're spread all across the world. You can participate in Energy with one Energy, which is 11 cents. So pretty easy to participate in that. It's very open. But I just want to emphasize that I think people get caught up on that they don't know the true meaning of decentralization. And I could give examples to explain it further, but I'm just keeping it concise. Um, but yeah, I just want to see the space evolve.
No, I'm right there with you on that. And decentralization in itself is like kind of a hard concept to explain to people, especially outsiders. I always kind of refer to decentralization as a spectrum, right? And because there's so many blockchains that claim to be decentralized, but then when you kind of look at the factors that determine their claim, they vary from case to case. So I definitely am with you on that. We got Matthew with his hand up. What is the question you have for Tommy?
Thanks so much, AJ. Tommy, awesome project. Awesome to see another ape working on something like this. I think along the same lines, insurance is a big industry that could be part of this ecosystem as well. People getting insured for their assets or however they get lost, whatever the case may be. My question to you is, how can people game the system on Energy to either be fraudulent in nature with respect to them getting hacked, and how do you prevent people from double dipping in this sense, like saying I lost $500 and then getting $500 and then having that other $500 somewhere else?
Yeah, great question. We've had hundreds of those reports, if not thousands, over the years, and that's why we do a full investigation. What we usually find is, first of all, these sorts of uh, bad actors don't want to give the logs from their computer. So once you're like, hey, you have to provide like a full, we really do like a deep investigation on what happened. And they don't really want to go that road. So, and then when we do the deep investigation, we can usually figure out what's really going on. And we look out for that sort of stuff. And, but I will mention, uh, we protect against any sort of smart contract hack where a hacker comes in, steals the money and tries to run with it. We can catch them. A theft, we can catch them. one of the biggest vulnerabilities still are what I would, what's called a slow rug, which is when people raise money and then essentially just try to siphon it out or something like that. There's still, I'm not saying we're foolproof against all sorts of hacks and scams, but what we can do is full on, we stop theft, full on, we stop smart contract hacks, full on, we stop sim swaps, all that's like, we have a list of like 20 different things that we do stop. And again, this is the direction the space has to ultimately go in and it's a collective effort. We all have to kind of be like, hey, you guys, like, we need to evolve the crypto space. And until we do, we're going to be stuck in the past, and we're going to be stuck with, as I've already said, like our friends and our moms don't want to get in it. I hear that all the time. Like, people are very scared of getting in crypto, and for good reason, because it's very dangerous. And we have to be that change.
I love it, man. Really appreciate that approach. I think that's very, very pragmatic way to approach the market here. We have Joa and Fee. I thought it was Phil. It's Fi. I'll go Joa first and then Fi.
Yeah, yeah, Tommy. My question was going to be around the founders and protecting rugs, but you already addressed that. So the only other question I really have is, have you thought of doing this almost as a standard instead of a chain, right? So making it like a contract standard for certain chains, so that it can be used on Ethereum or on Solana or AVAX or the L2s or whatever.
That's basically the same question I have. Like, what's stopping? Like, you said this was Ethereum based, right? So, could this be integrated into the actual Ethereum blockchain?
That's a great question, you guys. And I will explain that by saying what I have done is very controversial. Again, and that ties to because people don't know what decentralization means. It's the biggest objection I get. They think it's not decentralized, but I went down that road deeply, and I wrote an article on it 3 years ago and really explored it. The example I'll give on that is like, remember Napster back in the day versus torrents. Napster is centralized because the authorities want to shut it down. They went to Napster. They're like, you guys got to close shop, and they had to close their servers. But they could never shut down torrents. They still go on today. That's the nature of blockchain tech. It's peer-to-peer tech. We're in like 100 different countries that no one can come to me and say shut down Energi, because I don't have that power and I never want that power. So that's what decentralization means. So what you guys will hear commonly though is people will argue that, and it's so controversial that if someone tried to propose something like this on other blockchains, they're going to get a ton of pushback from their community who don't understand this. So it's part of a sort of collective education that the space needs to learn. But as far as like implementing something like this on an existing blockchain, the problem is it has to be done on the protocol level. If you don't have that governance in place for, like, let's use USDT, USDC for example, they have governance capabilities. It's centralized governance, right? That they can freeze those assets. A couple months ago, Binance got hit by an address poisoning attack, which is where they send a transaction that looks a lot like an address that you sent to before. They automatically generate them, but there's differences in the middle characters. And our minds are just trained to look at the first four and last four characters because that's how it is on a lot of wallet apps. But they got Binance for that for 20 million. But Binance had USDT on the line, and they called them and they got it frozen. Binance is lucky that they had USDT to do that. Most people don't have that capability. So the point is, you can put governance for a token, but if someone takes that token and swaps it for Ethereum on a DEX like Uniswap, it's game over. As soon as it's switched to Ethereum, there's no governance on that protocol. So the governance has to be on the protocol level in order to work. And that's what we did. I kept Energi 99% the same as Ethereum, but I put that governance into the protocol level. So that's what has to be done to make this possible.
Tommy, the way I'm kind of thinking about it, it's basically a consensus blacklist. I don't know if that's a bad way of saying it, but
Not 100.
how is how is the concept? How is the the board? Is it made of? Is it how many tokens you have? Is it industry leaders like the number one marketplace and number one DEX? Like, how is that consensus made?
Yeah, great question. Just like the same as many DAOs, it's just we have it as 10% of the network, which you can change those numbers 5%, 15%, whatever you want to do. We have it at 10%. It works well, but it's a network quorum, same way that a lot of DAOs vote on how to allocate funds. but just expand that capability again of governance to not just be for asset allocation, but for self policing, self policing the network.
So, I have a question. So, the space is always like rapidly evolving. It's always kind of changing. So, how does Energy plan to maintain that like technological edge and like stay ahead in terms of innovation, like with how fast everything changes?
That's a great question, AJ. So I mean, if we take a step back and just look at companies in general, right? Every company brands themselves. What is your brand about, right? We've got Apple. We look at a reliable product on Apple, some better privacy than other products, or Tesla. We have a brand association with every product. Our brand is based around security, and I think I don't see any blockchains that are in that realm yet, though I expect to see others moving that realm. So where does the rubber hit the road? What I've learned along the way is our main customers are actually businesses, and users care about security, but a lot of times users don't care until something happens to them, and then they care. But blockchain companies are affected by it all the time, and a great example of that is in the NFT space. Take the Bored Apes for instance. I got a Bored Ape PFP. Bored Apes and many other NFTs haven't had royalties being paid for like a year now. This is an issue of royalty theft. Just to put it very bluntly, it's theft. It's royalty theft. People found a way to backdoor things to not pay royalties. So what our avenue is, our go to market is really focusing on businesses, and we focused on NFTs specifically. So we're building an NFT marketplace. It's called Gonna Make It. You guys are going to see a lot of airdrops for that this year. We did an airdrop about a year ago. We're going to have numerous more rounds coming out this year. And we're focusing on NFTs, where these projects can have a place where they can launch NFTs, not have to worry about royalties not being paid, and not have to worry about their users having their assets stolen. And that's where we're focusing. Although we're open to more, but that's our target market.
Love it. Love it. So we are kind of winding down the end of the hour here of the space. Really appreciate all the speakers. Tommy, thank you so much. All the listeners out there, definitely go give Energy a follow. But before we close, Tommy, I do want to ask, it is the beginning of the year here. It's beginning 2024, projected bull run for 2025. If we stick to the halving cycle, how that is all played out. Is there anything on the roadmap for Energy implementing in 2024? Like what can we look forward to here as we move into the bull run?
For sure, our NFT marketplace, Gonna Make It, has been again being built the past 2 years. That's being deployed on mainnet now, so that's going live this year in the coming months. Again, you guys are definitely going to hear about us. We have some powerful airdrop campaigns where we're going to create a lot of buzz and basically attract projects to us. So keep your eye out for that. There'll be lucrative airdrops too. You'll definitely want to get your share of it with some damn good tokenomics, if I may say so, on the GMI token. That's one thing. When I made Energy back in 2017, we didn't have tokenomics like we do today, but today you can do some powerful stuff. So yeah, that's what I would say. And then just in terms of the macro environment, I was listening to you guys. We do have a lot of tailwinds this year. It's election year. Stock market's in a weird spot. We saw something similar in 2020, but the big picture, I will say, is Satoshi really created crypto as a response to the 2008 financial crisis, and I think if turmoil does happen where the market breaks or something like that, I think in the short term it can be negative for crypto, but in the medium to long term, I think people are going to be really disillusioned with a lot of governments, and it can cause like a massive catalyst to crypto like we haven't seen. It's a possibility, but something to consider. So yeah, that's what I see coming.
Well put. Well put. Tommy, I really appreciate your time. Big shout out to your project Energy. Everybody, there is a Energy tweet up in the nest there. It's at Energy, ENERGI. Definitely go give them some love. Sounds like they have some good things coming on the horizon with the NFT marketplace. And, I'm all for security. I'm all for like feeling safe about being able to tell my friends about a project. Because, scams are unfortunately a big part of crypto. So to everyone out there, definitely be safe, watch your back, don't click on links from DMs from people you don't know. Be careful out there. That it's scary in these streets. You know what I'm saying? So with all that being said, my name's AJ Rates Crypto. Everyone out there, definitely give some love to the speakers. Thank you to Micah, Phi, David, Matthew, our co-host Tommy. That was the roundtable for today. We will catch you soon. Have yourself a great and safe rest of your day. Later.